What is going on YouTube? STIPE here today, and today behind me I have a SRT Grand Cherokee, and I'm going to be talking about the Trackhawk in particular. Unfortunately, I don't have a Trackhawk available to me right now, but I'm going to be talking about the Trackhawk in a more positive way today. I find the Trackhawk gets bashed a lot, and I think it's because of the price tag and the fact that it is a Jeep, and the price tag is pretty high and pretty huge on it. So if you don't have the deep pockets, or you do but you're kind of hesitating because it is a Jeep, then hopefully this video can kind of motivate you to push you over that edge and maybe even change some people's opinions on the Trackhawk. So we're going to get right into this video in just a second, but before we do, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like the video at the end, please make sure you hit that like button, and we'll get right into it. So yes, as I was saying, the Trackhawk in particular hasn't had the most positive things said about it. And like I said, I think it reflects a lot to do with the price, and I think most people would agree with me on that. Here, yes, we're in SRT today. Very similar vehicles, and I think that's another thing that affects the Trackhawk from people kind of inching away from it, is the fact that the SRT looks the exact same. I mean, there obviously are a couple of differences that are somewhat noticeable, but other than that, there's really not a huge lot of a difference. And if you guys want to see the differences between the two, I actually have a video. I'll try and put it at the end of this one. I did a Trackhawk versus a SRT Grand Cherokee, and I did a comparison between the two, and you can see I point out all the differences in that video. But today we're going to be talking about positively about this Trackhawk. And you know what, as far as, yes, everyone says a lot of bad things about it, well, there's some light at the end of that tunnel. And what I mean by that is the price actually has dropped. A lot of dealers have dropped the prices on them. There is a huge amount of profit in the Trackhawk, just because obviously it is a hugely inflated price from factory, and the MSRP is high. So there's typically usually, without any incentives or rebates, you can probably get about $9,000 to $10,000 off from a dealership if you really wanted to, without any rebates yet. And then when you apply some rebates, I mean, I've had people, obviously I'm here in Canada, so the discounts will be a little bit larger than they will be in the US, just simply because of the difference in dollars. But I've heard of people in the US who have gotten $18,000 off. I've heard of people here who get $20,000 off, even more, on Trackhawks. And that's because dealerships ordered a lot of them, and we're expecting them to be a lot hotter than they were. But I guess, they realized that the price was really high, and it's just not working. Now, the Trackhawk, I believe, might not be around for too long, just because of that hugely inflated price. But who knows? We've seen SRT do stuff like this. They try it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Gratefully, the SRT Grand Cherokee actually works really well with the 6.4 liter. For value for a SUV, this is probably the best value SUV there is out there, and that goes for the Trackhawk as well. Even though it's a high price, the Trackhawk is the best value for the SUV. Even if you're paying $100,000 for that SUV, or here in Canada 120, it's still worth it. And the reason why it's worth it is because compare it to something. I mean, there's nothing that compares to it. There's no SUV that has 707 horsepower or 650 pound-feet of torque. There's no motor that has a 6.2 liter V8 supercharged, and the exhaust note. There's not going to be a better sounding SUV out there, and I will fight that with anyone. I've never heard a better sounding SUV in my life. And it's the Hemi motors in general. They sound great, and I'm really happy. Yeah, they get pushed on because they're a very old school push rod V8 kind of style, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I like that. It makes them more reliable, and that's where the next part comes in. Repairing American cars is a lot cheaper than repairing German cars. So comparing it to a German car or any European car, what is comparable to, there isn't anything that compares to this. So And it's cheaper on repairs than all of them. And in my opinion, you'll probably end up having less problems with the Grand Cherokee than you would, let's say, Porsche Cayenne or I can't think of really SUVs right now. I'm having a brain fart here. Obviously now people are going to talk about, though, the Tesla and the Model X. Now, I do agree. Yes, the Tesla is probably the most comparable to this vehicle, just because of it can be the only one that can keep up with the Trackhawk, and in some cases will beat it, actually. Now, most people are saying that the Trackhawk with the right driver will almost always beat the Model X on a quarter mile, is what they're saying now. And that's pretty impressive, because the Model X is probably heavier, but you know, these Grand Cherokees are heavy vehicles. And another thing that people always will complain about is gas. Well, I always get it commented in my videos is, oh, they're pigs on gas and this and that. Anyone who buys this car isn't thinking about gas most of the time. There are some few who do, and you know what, if you do consider gas a huge variable factor, buy the SRT, because it does shut down. Obviously, it has the MDS technology that the Trackhawk does not. And the Trackhawk, though, you can put it in eco mode. It's actually pretty good. It's not bad. It will limit your power, but I mean, at least it has that feature. And again, I don't want to stay on gas too long, because this is a topic that a lot of people don't really care about when they're looking at these vehicles. Now, the next topic is insurance. Insurance isn't a whole lot on an SUV, especially on the Grand Cherokees, because for the most part, the Grand Cherokees are known as, you know, the Laredos, the Trailhawks, the Overlands, the Summits. They're more considered a luxurious vehicle. So insurance companies obviously know what a Trackhawk is, but they don't really consider it being as a very dangerous vehicle, also because it's all-wheel drive. There's not a whole lot of accidents with Grand Cherokees happening in it. Actually, my mom bought a Grand Cherokee, and she was worried because she had actually a BMW, a 5 Series BMW, and she was worried that her insurance was going to go up to the SUV. And I said, no, there's no way that it would go up from a 5 Series BMW. And it actually went down a whole lot over the course of a year. She actually saved $250 over the course of a whole year. Now, if you're worried about, you know, maintenance costs and things like that, yeah, they're a little bit higher than your average vehicle, but here's the thing, is they're still a lot cheaper than any Audi SUV, any BMW SUV that doesn't even have, let's just say, a BMW X5, just a, you know, simple base X5 is more on maintenance than probably the Trackhawk is. And that's just the way, you know, German cars work a lot of the time. Like I said, yes, it's more on maintenance than the average car, but it's still not a whole lot. And the last thing I want to point out is, you know what, it's a SUV with 707 horsepower. It's probably the biggest sleeper on the road. I don't know how many people actually know that Jeep even makes a SUV that is fast, to be honest with you. People always see the Grand Cherokee and they go, what is that? And and they see just the SRT and they're always like, what is that? Because they see, you know, the red Brembo brakes, the calipers, you know, flashing in their eyes, and they're just like, what the heck is that? And all the time I just tell them, oh, it's our performance SUV, and people are like, how long has this been out for? And I tell them over 10 years now, and a lot of people don't believe me, but it's pretty iconic. It's going to be a very iconic SUV. I think in 20 years from now, we'll look back at it, and it will be very neat, especially the Trackhawk. And the Trackhawk will be a bigger rarity in a couple years, like I said, because they probably will stop making it just because sales haven't been as strong as they hoped. And I think if you own one, it'll hold its value quite strongly. I mean, right now, yeah, you're gonna feel a little bit of a depreciation in the first couple of years, but that vehicle, when it gets discontinued, will probably be worth quite a bit of money. I don't think that vehicle will ever, I mean, assuming you keep it reasonable with the kilometers and there's no major accident on the vehicle, I really don't think that vehicle will ever go under $55,000 in value. It'll always be worth that $55,000 mark, as long as it's under 100,000 miles probably. And it's just the way it is. You look at any historic, like, American car that got discontinued that was more of a rarity, that's what happened. I mean, you look at the Vipers, you look at the Ford GTs, and etc. And it happens. It happens now. So that's why I think the Trackhawk should be considered with more of that elite group of American cars, because it is an elite car. It should be compared to, you know, the Demons. It should be compared to, you know, very authentic SUVs like the Lamborghini Urus SUV. And I think that's not even comparable to the Trackhawk either. I still think that the Trackhawk is way better than that Lamborghini, even if they were, you know, even if you put a Lamborghini badge on the, you know, Trackhawk, and the Trackhawk is always going to be the better one, just because it's simply more powerful, it's more luxurious to me, and I just like the way they look a whole lot better, and I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. Can you daily drive it? Absolutely. All-wheel drive, you live somewhere where there's snow, it's not a problem in the snow. Another thing about the Trackhawk is it's very comfortable if you have kids. It's not a problem fitting everyone in the vehicle. Features like panoramic sunroof and many other features, among very customizable suspension options as far as putting it in sport, track mode, snow mode, tow mode. There's just tons of modes now on these vehicles, and it's awesome. The baffles open up when you're in track mode, so you get that nice screaming noise when you're really on the throttle. And like I said, from light to light, I don't think there's going to be any car that can really beat you out there, and that's the great part about it. And it is a sleeper car because nobody's expecting it to be as fast as it is. So that's my video for today, guys. Please let me know what you guys think about the Trackhawk. I know some people still think that it is overpriced, and I know a lot of people go, it's Fiat junk. It's not Fiat junk, because guess what? Fiat didn't design the Grand Cherokee, and they didn't design the Hemi. So that's my point for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you subscribe to the video. If you like the video, hit that like button, and as I always say, I'll be back with more videos. Thanks.